One of the most important things we use while towing our camper is our weight distribution hitch with anti-sway control. This is a required piece of equipment to ensure that we can safely tow our camper down the road. The weight distribution ensures that our tow vehicle has proper grip on the road. With so much weight to the back of the tow vehicle, it ensures that that weight is evenly distributed so that the front wheels on the tow vehicle remain on the ground and have good grip. The anti-sway control ensures that the trailer does not start to sway side to side and pull our vehicle off the side of the road. If you get a gust of wind or something like that, that'll ensure that it still follows behind the vehicle without swaying. I would say we've been very happy with our Equal-i-zer hitch. We've not had any problems with sway or any weight distribution problems. We have an Equal-i-zer 90-01-0600. This is the hitch that the dealer included when we purchased our travel trailer, so we did not do a lot of research on what type of hitch we need. This has a 6,000 pound max trailer weight capacity, which is well within range of what we needed for our camper, and the max tongue weight is 600 pounds, which matches up perfectly with our tow vehicle. Equal-i-zer does make larger hitches than this, so you would just need to buy the one appropriate for the trailer that you're going to be pulling. This does have an adjustable shank, so that depending on the height of your tow vehicle, it can be adjusted up and down to keep it level. The dealer actually installed this for us, so I don't really have much in terms of directions for that. So I'd suggest if you're trying to install this yourself, you watch a video on that. I can explain a little bit about what they did do when they installed it. They did measure how high the hitch was on the tow vehicle to be able to adjust the shank up and down. There are a couple brackets that they bolted onto the camper, which I'll show in a second, and I'll also show you how we torque those bolts to make sure that they stay tight enough. The hitch ball for ours is 2 5/16 inch. And this is a 2-inch hitch that goes into our receiver on our 2-inch receiver on our tow vehicle. The unit itself is extremely heavy duty. It weighs over 50 pounds. So it takes a bit of effort to actually get it in there and lined up correctly. But we've been really happy with it. Here is the link plate and the L bracket that they put on the camper. There's one of these on each side, which the arms go onto and then lock. And there are nuts on the back side. I use my torque wrench to torque those to 65 pounds, and then the ones on the front I do to 75 pounds. I do that before each trip. The ones on the back can be a little bit tricky to get to with the torque wrench, but if you put them in there at the right angle, you can get to them. The best way to get at the bolts on the back side to tighten these is from the bottom. So I come up underneath here and do them this way. And I will say, out of all the nuts that I usually torque, these are the ones that usually turn the most. So these are really important to get. So when I go to put this on, I like to grab right here and kind of push down on the front because all the weight's right here in the middle. I usually put gloves on because I lubricate under here, and it's oftentimes sticky. And just again, this is really heavy, so be careful not to drop this on yourself. I usually leave the pin in and try to put this much into the hitch receiver and then adjust the pin. So I grab here and kind of push down on the front. I slide it in about that far, and then I pull the pin out, and then I just slide it in the rest. And put the pin back in. The other thing I torque is the socket bolts. So these are the two bolts for the two arms, and it actually takes the 24 millimeter socket that I have, and I do a deep socket for this as well, and I'll just tighten these up each time as well on each side. For the shank bolts, I actually just visually look at them and inspect them to make sure they're tight enough. I don't actually have a socket big enough to torque these, but I just make sure that they're still on there good. One other thing you can check is the shank bolt, which is directly underneath the hitch between the two arms right here. This should just be snug. You don't need to tighten that too tight, and really just every once in a while you can check that one, but you want to make sure that is snug. So I'm not going to go over all the steps to actually hook it up to the travel trailer, because I do cover that in another video which you can watch and I'll link to in the description. But there is a tool that came with it that you can use if you're having trouble getting the bars up on top of the brackets. We've not actually had to use this because we used the jack to jack it up, but essentially if you were having problems, you could hook this here and then the bar would go in here, and when you slide it up, that would then slide the bar onto the L bracket. So this is a tool that came with it for us that can be used if you do have problems with that. For storage of the hitch, you do want to keep it out of the weather. So at home for us, that just means leaving it in the garage. When we go camping, I actually put it in the back of my tow vehicle, but it is pretty heavy to get back there and awkward. So if you have any suggestions on how we could better store that while we're camping, I'd love to hear it. But I do want to keep it out of the weather to prevent it from rusting. You can use anti-rust spray on this, but it does mention not to cover up any of the warning labels, so just keep that in mind. I will link to this in the description, an Amazon link, but again, we did get this included with our camper from the dealer, so I didn't do a lot of research into other ones, but we have been very happy with our Equal-i-zer weight distribution hitch with anti-sway control. As always, if you have any suggestions or questions for us, please leave us a comment. If you found this video useful, please give it a like so we know that we're producing good content. Happy camping, and thanks for watching.